Like Java, in C hash, all the things are treated as classes as well as object. Structured programming language is nothing but the complex problems are divided into smaller part. The compilation and execution time of the C hash programming language is very fast. Hello to all, a warm welcome to my new session on Introduction about .NET. I'm Revati from the Department of Computer Science, Vidhyaashram First Grade College, the Temple of Excellence, MYSURU. So dear student, this is the right time to opt this subject because you will be having project. To implement project, you require some programming language. For that reason, it's better to opt this subject. Anyway, dear student, let's see the agenda of today's session. So, dear student, in my today's session, I'm going to deal with what is C# or C hash. So, I can able to use the word C# or C hash. Both are same. Even I can able to tell .NET. Then I'm going to deal with C hash, a widely used programming language. That means why this C hash is most commonly used professional language. Along with that, I'm going to deal with C hash features or characteristics. Along with that, I'm going to deal with the applications as well as I'm going to deal with the comparison between C hash and C program. So, these are the certain topic I'm going to deal in my today's session. So, dear student, from the examination point of view, this topic is very important. That is characteristics or features of C hash program. Along with that, another important point from the examination point of view, that is applications of C hash. Anyway, dear student, instead of wasting much of time, let's directly begin with the today's topic, that is what is C hash. So anyway, dear student, all are familiar with the word programming language. Now, my question is why I require programming language? Because computer understands only machine language, and if I want to interact with the computer system, then I must want to provide the commands or instruction to the computer system. And what are the instruction I'm going to provide to the computer system? That is in the form of machine language, or that may be in the form of high-level programming language. So here, C hash is nothing but the general purpose high-level programming language. So what is C hash? This is an example for programming language, and what kind of programming language? That is high-level programming language. So here C hash is a modern general purpose object-oriented programming language. So here, like Java, in C hash, all the things are treated as classes as well as object. For that reason, here C hash is also called object-oriented programming language. And so, dear student, this C hash program is the product of Microsoft, and this is approved by European Computer Manufacturers Association. So it is called ECMA, and it's also approved by International Standards Organization. So this programming language was approved by European Computer Manufacturers Association along with International Standards Organization. And who is the father of C# program? That is none other than Anders Hesselsberg. So who is the father of C# program? That is Anders Hesselsberg and his team during the development of .NET framework. That means to run my C# program, I required .NET framework. While developing .NET framework, they introduced C# programming language, and this is general purpose high level object oriented programming language, and this C# is designed for common language interface. So here I want to design some interface where I can able to run different language, and I want same infrastructure. For that we are going to have C#. So C# is designed for common language infrastructure. So it is called CLI. It includes some of the executable codes as well as classes, methods as well as object. So here C# includes executable codes, along with that runtime environment that allows the user to run various high-level applications or high-level language on different computer platform and architecture. That means I can able to run .NET framework on different computer, that is different platforms with different architecture. So here .NET framework includes CLI, that is common language interface, along with that runtime environment. So this is all about C#. Now the next topic here is C#, a widely used professional language. There are certain times you may get the question like, justify why C# is most commonly used professional language. Because of its nature. So because of its nature, the C# program is most commonly used professional language. So the C# programming language is modern and it is general purpose programming language. That means it is commonly used to implement any kind of application. For that reason, it is called general purpose programming. Along with that, it's also called object oriented, because here everything is treated as classes and object, and it is mainly used to implement real-time problems. For that reason, it is called object-oriented. Then it is a component-oriented. For example, think that I want to design my own application or own application form. So what I will do? I'm going to pick the component which is present on the .NET framework, and I'm going to just drag and drop the component, and I'm going to make the basic modification. For that reason, it is called component oriented. And it is very easy to learn. That means without any programming language, you can able to learn C# programming. It is a structured language. That means the C# programming language is also called structured programming language. Now, what is the meaning of structured programming language? Here, structured programming language is nothing but the complex problems are divided into smaller parts. Now, find the solution for smaller part or smaller group. Later, combine all the group together in order to get the final solution. So, here structured language means breaking the problems into smaller pieces. Now, it produces efficient programs. That means by using C# program, I can able to implement efficient programs, and it can be compiled on a variety of computer platform. That means I can able to compile my .NET program or hash, that is C# program on different platform. So different platform means what? Different operating system. For example, if I write program1.net and I'm going to run this program in Windows operating system. Now, if I copy same program and if I run this program in some other platform, then it is called variety of computer platform. Then it is a part of .NET framework. So it is a part of .NET framework. That means to run my C# program, I required some platform, and that is nothing but the .NET framework. And if I consider .NET framework, in that I have VB.NET, that is Visual Basics .NET. Then I have ASP.NET, that is Active Server Page.NET. Then I have .NET. Then I have ADO.NET. So these are the some of the components of .NET framework. Now I have the topic, that is characteristics or features of C# programming. So what is my first characteristics? That is simple. So here C# is a simple programming language, and it is very easy to learn, it is very easy to write, and it is very easy to compile as well as debug. So here it supports structured programming or structured approach. That means breaking the problems into smaller part. Along with that, C# program will have rich set of library functions along with that data types. Now, the next characteristics here is modern programming language. That means nowadays most frequently used programming language is nothing but C#. So, C# programming is based upon current trends, and it is very powerful and simple for building scalable, interoperable and robust application. Because if I consider C# programming, I'm going to get inbuilt functions, inbuilt components. According to my requirement, I'm going to use the functions as well as component to design my own application. The next feature here is object oriented. That means C hash is also called by the name object oriented. That means to represent any kind of problems in C hash, I'm going to consider classes and object. So what is object? There is nothing but the instance of the class. And class is used to represent real world problems, and each class will have their own property. So C hash is object oriented programming language which makes development as well as maintenance easier when compared with the procedural oriented programming language. That means if I consider procedural oriented programming language, then implementing code, maintaining the code are very difficult. But if I consider object oriented programming, then implementing code, maintaining code, providing security, everything is easy. And the next feature here is type safe. So what is the meaning of type safe? There is nothing but checking for data types. So C hash program is going to have compile time data type. During the compilation, if compiler failed to check the data type, then during the runtime, it's possible to check the data type. For that reason called type safe. So C hash type safe code can only access the memory location. So by using type safe, we can able to access only the memory location that it has permission to execute. Therefore, it improves the security of the program. Anyway, dear student, I will explain what is type safe in my upcoming sessions with example, because here we are going to study that it supports memory allocation. That means it's mainly used to control, manage memory allocation. So when I'm going to discuss data types, I'll discuss same concept once again. Now, the next characteristics here is scalable and updatable. So C hash is automatic scalable. That means it's going to have the feature that it's going to scale up automatically. And updatable, that means it's going to update itself. Therefore, it's called updatable programming language. For updating our application, we have to delete our old files and update them with the new one. Next one is component oriented. So C hash programming language is also called component oriented programming language. So it is the predominant software development methodology. So here C hash programming is also called by the name predominant software development methodology used to develop robust and highly scalable application, because here we are going to have all the inbuilt tools, and it's also component oriented. So these are the certain features of C hash programming. Along with that, it's going to have rich set of libraries. So C hash provides lots of inbuilt function. That means for each and every time I don't want to write the code. So what can I do here? I'm going to use the built-in methods as well as built-in functions which is present in this C# program. That means I'm going to make use of existing methods or existing functions in my program. Then fast speed. The compilation and execution time of the C# programming language is very fast. So, to compile C# program, it's going to take very less time, and to execute the C# program, it's going to take very less time. For that reason, it is called fast and speed. So, these are the certain characteristics of C# program. So, dear student, please make a note here. From the examination point of view, this topic is very, very important. You can expect 7 or 8 marks. Now, I'm going to have the applications of C#. So, what is the meaning of applications of C#? That is nothing but where I can able to use C# programming. So, here it's mainly used to design all kind of Windows application. That means whenever I want to develop any Windows application, then I'm going to choose this programming language. Suppose if I want to develop my own web applications, then I can go with C#. That means I'm going to get ASP.NET. And if I consider, if I want to develop Windows application, then I have WinForms. If I want to develop distributed application, then I can able to go with C# programming. And if I want to develop web service application, then I can able to use ASP.NET. And if I want to design any database applications, then I can able to have ADO.NET. So, these are the users or applications of C# program. So, what are the application? That is Windows application, web application, distributed application, web service application. Along with this, I'm going to have the C versus C# comparison. That means I'm going to compare C program with C# program. So at the beginning I have C and here I have C#. Now C program is mainly suitable for hardware application, system programming, chip designing and embedded devices. That means C programs are mainly used to design hardware applications, system programs, chip designing and embedded devices. And here C# is mainly used to develop applications and web applications. The next difference here is C is mainly used data types are int, float, double and character. That means int, double, float, characters, these are the different types of data types supported by C. And if I consider C#, the different types of data types are supported by the C# are integer, float, double, character, boolean. Along with that, it's used to handle logical operations. Now, the third comparison here is, if I consider C program, total number of keywords used in C programming is only 32. And if I consider C# programming, under this we are going to get 87 keywords. Now, the next comparison with respect to C programming is there is only one integral type in C. That means if I consider C program, I have only one integral type. But if I consider C# program, I have two integral types. The next comparison with respect to C here is, it is a structured programming language where if I consider C#, it is called object-oriented programming language. If I consider C program, then execution flow involves top down. That means the execution of C program follows from top to bottom. But if I consider C# programming, the execution of the program is going to start from bottom to up. That means it is completely reverse. So these are the certain difference between C and C#. Anyway, dear student, in my today's session, I have discussed what is C# programming. Along with that, I have discussed the features of C# programming. Along with that, the applications of C# programming. Along with that, the difference between C and C#. Anyway, dear student, in my next session, I'm going to deal with .NET frameworks. Along with that, I'm going to deal with common language runtime. Along with that, I'm going to deal with framework, class library, Windows Form, ASP.NET. These are the certain topic I'm going to deal in my next session. Anyway, dear student, let's meet in the next session with more information about introduction to .NET. Until that, keep watching and keep learning. Thank you.